All right, we're going to go get started. It looks like we are having a little issue with the Facebook Live portion of this, but we will post this to our Facebook once we're done. So it's going to be recorded. So it'll be on our website. It will be on our social media. So no worries about that. We'll go ahead and get rolling. I'll probably have some people filter in as we go. Let's go ahead and get started. So welcome to our functional weight loss presentation. I'm Dr. Matthew Zademan. And I got with me Jessica Velosa, our nurse practitioner, and also our brand new health coach, Thomas Surratt. So I thank you all for joining us. Hope you guys are excited as I am to present this information to you. So let's go ahead and get into it. So quick introduction about me. I know I recognize a lot of the names already who have joined this webinar. I'm a chiropractor. I'm also a certified functional medicine practitioner. And I also am a fellow of the International Board of Functional Neurology and Childhood Neurodevelopmental Disorders. I have been at North Florida Spine and Wellness since 2012. I bought the practice in 2018, and I'm been humbled that the community has voted us the best alternative medicine facility the last 2 years. So I'm very, very proud to what we've accomplished here. So why functional weight loss? Why did we decide to do this? And, honestly, one of the things that I'm very passionate about is no matter what I put in this office, I like to be able to do it at a highest level with the most success as possible. And I will admit that one thing that I had up and down success with was helping people lose weight. And I think there's a couple of different reasons for that. One of them is there is a lot of compounding factors. It's not as simple as balancing someone's thyroid out or lowering their adrenal fatigue. There is a lot of other barriers to that weight loss. And some of it is education, learning how to eat properly, stress. So what we call functional neurology type of imbalances that help you or make you produce too much cortisol, or perhaps block you from making the right decisions that you need to make. And finally, I think what's really important in in this type of weight loss is making incremental changes that can help you do this for a lifetime, not just for a short time period to lose a chunk of weight in a short time period. I mean, we all want to do that. I wanted to do that. Was part of my motivation. But I also don't want to have to go do this again either. So the more we can do this in the short term with success, but also build off that for a long-term lifetime change, that's where this is going to have its value. So, that was one thing that I wasn't, when I meet with people for 10 minutes to say how your supplement's doing, it was very difficult to dive into the stress, the educational factors of what they're eating and why that's not good for them and those types of things. And I felt like as far as a weight loss situation, that's why I never really advertised for that, because I didn't feel like I was doing them a service by not adding in those components that are so important to get that true success. So that's why we're doing this. And so I'm really excited to compare that to what, weight loss programs are out there now. Now, as far as medical weight loss, there's really only a couple of models that people are currently doing. And essentially, it's doing temporary calorie suppression to lose a bunch of weight in a short time while you're signed up with that facility. And so typically they will use almost zero lifestyle modification. They might give you some basic education that, leads you in some sort of direction. I would argue not always the right, true healthy direction, as Thomas will talk about and Jessica as well. But, their real only goal is to use a medication to make you not hungry is what they're going to do. And that's, everyone is hearing about the GLP-1 agonist. That's the semaglutide, that's the Ozempic, the Mounjaro, all of those medications that, initially were used for diabetics, and really phentermine as well. All they really do is keep you from being hungry. So that's great. You'll lose weight on that. But what are you going to do when you get off that medication? So you either have to stay on that medication for a lifetime, which some of that may be contraindicated. But what have you really changed for the long term? I mean, what good is it to lose 30, 40 pounds in 3 months if you're going to put it back on in 6 months later? So that's what I wanted to avoid when I presented some of this information. We wanted to be this whole body and whole mind, so we would have success 10 years from now, just not 10 months from now. So we were thinking about what to include. What tools did we need to do exactly what I was talking about? There was a bunch. I wanted things that helped the transition. So I don't know about you guys, but with me, one of the things, if I don't start losing some chunks of weight fairly early in the process, I'm going to get frustrated. I'm probably not going to follow through as much as I would if I am having some early success. So we did want to bring in some tools that weren't pharmaceutical, but did leverage nutrients that the body could utilize to burn fat a little bit quicker. So those are some tools in there. We brought in some 3D body scanning, functional lab tests that we've done for a long time to look at different barriers to metabolic function. And then a lot of even functional neurology, things that look at how your brain is operating. Basically, we wanted to bring as many tools as possible to the table to accomplish all of those goals. So here's our Styku 3D body scan. This thing is really pretty cool. They've actually shown that it's more accurate for taking body measurements than literally taking a tape measure. And if you did that 3 times, this would actually get you a more accurate reading closer together. I think it's about an inch of error when you do a tape measure. This goes down to 1/4 of an inch. So that's what's really important, whether you're using whatever you're using to do measurements or weight or actual body fat percentage. You want it to be reproducible, because what we're trying to show, it doesn't really matter where you start. We want to be able to accurately show change. And so you need a device that's going to, you do a test 3 times in a row, it's going to be very, very close to that initial reading. So that's what this does very, very well. In fact, the only thing that does a little bit better is a DEXA scan, which, some of you may know from, doing bone density testing, but it also can be used for body composition, but that uses radiation. So I would rather not do that. This is just infrared light, completely harmless. And the test takes about 30 seconds. It's very quick. So this will be a great tool we use to kind of not only measure weight loss, but also body composition change. Brain tap guided meditation. This is another cool tool that we're going to be starting to use. I've used it a little bit in practice, but it combines light frequencies, auriculotherapy, beats and tones, guided visualization to train the brain to produce a healthy balance of different brainwave activity. So we have brain waves like delta waves that help us with deep sleep. We have theta waves that are kind of for more healing. We have beta waves to kind of keep us active and awake and alert. Alpha waves kind of help us be creative and take initiative. Then you have gamma waves, which are like, peak concentration, performance, but you need balance of all of those waves. And so that's what this tool does very, very well. And it also, we can use different programs within it to basically help us keep focused on our goals and making choices and creating new habits, because that's really what we want to accomplish. All right, well, that's kind of an intro. I want to give you a little bit of a piece of it. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jessica, who's going to go into more of some of the medical side of the things we're going to use. And then we will then go into Thomas to go over the health coaching. So Jessica, go ahead and take it away.
All right. Hello, everybody. If you don't know me, I'm Jessica Veloza, the nurse practitioner here at North Florida Spine and Wellness. So I've been a nurse for 11 years and a nurse practitioner since December of last year. We've been doing some good stuff already here with Dr. Zademan at North Florida. And weight loss is just something, obesity is everywhere. And it's a problem that really is connected with many health diseases, I'd say almost every single chronic disease that can lead to decreased quality of life in the long term. So this is why, we are doing this. We're so passionate about this. I'm also in the process of going through these exact steps in this program. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about what else is involved. So functional weight loss program, we're taking a functional approach because functional medicine really includes all aspects of the human experience. So like Dr. Zademan said, it's really difficult to give somebody one sort of direction or supplementation or a small amount of guidance and get any results. It's very unique to each patient. And in functional medicine, we treat the patient, not the disease. Very dependent on a mix of your lab work, your experience, your internal dialogue, your psychological situation, your stress levels, your life situation. So the goal in functional medicine is to reach a level of optimal wellness. So we don't want to just, a lot of these quick fix medical programs for weight loss, like Dr. Zaydeman mentioned, they will help you. You will lose weight, but they're not setting you up for long-term success. It's sort of a Band-Aid medicine approach. You aren't learning the lifestyle tools to integrate into a long-term success. So we are focusing on these natural treatment modalities. You can go ahead and move on to the next slide. What we're doing is trying to get to the root cause of the excess body fat. So you may have heard insulin resistance or metabolic syndrome spoken about, but metabolic dysfunction is the root cause of weight loss in many instances. So excess body fat is rooted in metabolic dysfunction. Now, how we got to that metabolic dysfunction can be a complex web of things that are just very patient specific. So insulin resistance itself, it makes it difficult. It actually tells your body to not burn fat. You're resistant to insulin and your hormones are out of whack. Your hunger cues are not how they should be. Your appetite is higher. Your ability to feel satiated when you are eating is lower. And then what we see a lot over the last multiple decades is yo-yo dieting. We go on to whatever the quick fix thing is. We drop the pounds, we gain it back and maybe extra. And then that creates even more metabolic dysfunction. So we can move on to the next slide there. So how are we going to deal with it? Metabolic healing via lifestyle medicine, it's basically an approach that we use in functional medicine also, but these are your 6 pillars. It's things you probably have heard of, and it's, nutrition. What are you putting in your mouth? Sleep. How are you resting your body? How are you letting your cells heal? How are you moving your body? Exercise. Substance abuse. Are we extreme on the caffeine? Is there anything that we can alter slightly to make a difference? Stress management and healthy relationships. So that's where we add in the psychological factors too. So sort of, why would you be attracted to a program like this? What is the process and what are you going to expect? So obviously who we're attracting is anybody who wants to let go of some excess body fat. And how are we going to do it? We're going to use this team of people. We're going to use multiple different assessment tools. And we're going to use some natural medicinal tools to help the process of making these big lifestyle changes a little less painful. So I will be doing a deep dive assessment of you in a whole person view, and we'll be basically trying to identify, are there any things unique to you that we can connect that are in relation to what could be the root cause of this dysfunction that's leading you to be overweight. And, that includes we will do some blood work, and we also have some genetic tests that we're going to do that I'll talk about here soon. But then I will analyze the data in combination with Thomas and Dr. Zaydeman's expertise and opinions. We will formulate a personalized plan that gets to the root cause and have a plan of action in partnership, in alliance with you. We're forming an alliance with you as a patient in order to help get to your goals. So we'll move on to the next slide there. So some of these tools that I talked about that we are going to employ in this functional weight loss program include supplementation. So we will be doing first initial appointment. We will either get results if you have results from your primary care doctor. If not, we can draw and send off some blood, make sure we're not missing anything critical like thyroid, hormone. We can even go into cortisol imbalance if we need. And a number of these general blood tests, we can probably get insurance to cover if we need to, if we can. And then the genetic testing. Genetic testing is, in my opinion, the future, and it is a way to personalize medicine. It's possible to use it in many different ways, but as far as weight loss and weight maintenance, there's a lot of research supporting its validity and that it's the way to go now. So this test that we will be doing, the genetic testing, it's a simple mouth swab, right? And it actually will be included in the cost of the initial evaluation. IV nutritional therapy. So we use a number of different nutrients that we can give you directly into your bloodstream. Some of you, I recognize your names, have already experienced this with me. And we can go into detail. I'll go into more detail about the specific things that can help. The injectable Lipo Plus, I'll talk more about also, but that is a weekly injection that can help processing food and breaking down fat at a liver level. And then there's some other natural supplements we can suggest too. So here is an example of the genetic testing and explanation. This top one there, the MaxGen food panel, is the one that we find critical information on. The next two are extra and can be added on or upgraded to, but this top one gives us good information about how you genetically are most likely to process certain foods. You know, we see all sorts of diets with a lot of convincing anecdotal data and scientific data out there, you know, ketogenic, high fat, low carb, carb load for a lot of cardio. You can go down many roads, but this test actually looks at your genetic makeup and tells us some details about what foods you're most likely to respond well to. The other two are going to give more information. So we will deal with those on a person-to-person level, but it can get into like some more neurotransmitter information, how you tolerate exercise. There's a lot more we can get into if we want to upgrade. This here is the information that we get from the genetic testing. This is an example report. So there's multiple pages here in these next couple of slides that you can look over, but it tells us some information about genetically what are you more likely to experience based off of your ancestry, your genetic ancestry. So you can move forward there. A lot of, you know, there's the information about the exercise. You'll be able to look back over this if you're interested later. You'll be able to look back over the details of this, but I just wanted to add sort of a snippet of an example of what that genetic test information. So into the benefits of the nutritional IV therapy. This is one of the things where, you know, we will be uniquely creating a package or a plan of action for you. Some people don't tolerate IVs well, and it's not in the option for them. If that's going to cause you more stress and it's not going to lead you in the right direction, we'll deal with you on that. You know, you won't have to, it's not by any means required. It's just something that I, myself and Dr. Zetaman and multiple patients have been using to help along the way. So it can enhance your nutrient absorption. You're taking basically some very powerful supplements and going directly into the IV, into the bloodstream. So we're not going through the stomach and losing value with the stomach acid burning off value. We're not getting the liver to filter out half of the things before it gets into the bloodstream where it can reach the cells of action. It can help with energy levels. It can help with immune function, hydration and detoxification. When we're losing fat, detoxification becomes a very helpful thing. So, you know, none of these are magic tools, magic bullets, answers. They're just tools in the toolkit to help the process of making these lifestyle changes easier. So we can move on to the next page there. So I go into detail about specifically which nutrients we're using. Glutathione is one that it naturally occurs in our body, and it's the master antioxidant. But it's very helpful in detoxifying. It basically helps your body do what it should be doing already at a cellular level. It helps support mitochondrial function, and you can go into details there, but it even helps our natural antioxidants like vitamin C, E, alpha lipoic acid. It helps them do their job better too, more efficiently. So when we are dropping fat, our fat cells hold on to a lot of toxins that we're exposed to in our foods and environments over time. And when we are losing fat, it releases into the bloodstream. And that's why you can have some more fatigue and some dragging feelings. And it can actually lead you to make, give in and stop the plan sometimes. So that's why we like these as an idea for tools. And you can see there, magnesium, B complex, zinc, vitamin C. A lot of these really help with your immune system, your skin. But the goal here is to support energy, support metabolism. The amino blend, it can help with muscle recovery, help decrease muscle loss, and help you burn more fat, helps your metabolism function well too. Next. And I didn't mention the program, the goal, what we will plan on is IV infusions every other week. And we can make a very specifically what will be in your infusion based off of you and your needs and your progress and how it's going there. And then the Lipo Plus intramuscular injection. So it will be a weekly injection. So you will be in the office with this program once a week. And so part of that once a week visit will be an intramuscular injection with me. And that here is what's included, this lipotropic agent here. And it will also have B12, which I talk about on the next slide. But it helps sort of the liver process fat better. It also helps the process of breaking down carbohydrates and using it more effectively, helping you convert food more effectively at a cellular level. So we can move on to the next. And there's where I talk about the B12. Those two will be mixed in one, so it's one shot weekly. And so B12 can help in many of the ways I've already mentioned. It can help with your metabolism. Some research says it can help you with your energy levels, your endurance, and it can help stress and anxiety. There's been studies to show it can help decrease stress and anxiety and regulate the nervous system for sure, especially if you are low on B12, which is very common. But even if you aren't, and if you aren't, a lot of people do not break down B12 well in a form that's accessible to the cells. So this intramuscular B12 is helpful in many ways. So next. So lastly, I'm just going to sort of review here. We are going to be doing weekly visits with myself to get an intramuscular injection and with Thomas. And again, if the shot is something that is not worth it for you, that you're not willing to go through, we can build a unique setup for you. So weekly meetings with me, I will also be connecting with you. So the first time we'll deep dive and we'll really make an alliance and get to know one another and build a plan. And part of that for me that I find very important is the psychological part, the internal dialogue. What you're putting into your mouth is very incredibly important, and what you're putting into your mind is also important. So I strongly believe that what you think and what you believe is how you will feel, and how you feel is going to really dictate your actions, which dictates your results. So if you're feeling like negative, I'm a failure, I'm never going to lose weight, then you're going to feel that down. You're going to go get Dairy Queen and you're going to have the results you don't want. So I'm going to help with some assignments on that with an ultimate goal of long-term success, body fat, long-term. We're talking about this is the last time we have to do some excessive weight loss ever again. Or if you're just on the spectrum of weight loss and it's over time, you have 5 or 10, 15 pounds with time, age, hormones that you want to get off. These tools can help some of that stubborn weight get off too. So next I'm going to move and hand it over to Thomas, and he's going to tell you about his part.
How's everybody doing? Learning a lot, I hope. Matt and Jessica get all the cool technological tools, and they leave me to be the bad guy to keep you honest on this work.
Basics are so important.
Yeah, I'm telling you. So as Jessica mentioned earlier, in that initial visit, that hour-long visit, what I'm going to be doing is taking a deep dive into your life, hopefully getting to know you personally as well as I can. But really, the point of this is going to be so I can assess and address 3 core lifestyle factors, which include sleep, diet, and physical activity or exercise. Believe it or not, just fixing or improving those 3 things will solve so many other problems in your life. I fully believe that and have found that myself. There's plenty of other things that we're going to talk about and address over the 12 weeks, but none more important than sleep, diet, and exercise, in my opinion. And after that initial assessment, the 3 of us will get together as a team and make sure that we are on the same page as what the recommended treatment or protocol for you will be. And then, of course, we run all of those things by you to make sure that there's no non-negotiables that you have or aversions that you have. So we're going to try to make this as best we can between the 3 of us, and something that also agrees with the client, because if it doesn't agree with you, then it's probably not going to be something you'll stick to. So we will have a weekly progress report, weekly sessions where we'll go over your progress, any challenges you might be having with the recommendations we make, and possible changes depending on what your results are. One of the main benefits of having me on as a certified health and wellness coach, is that I'm going to open up my communication ability to all of our clients, at least for now. They contact me daily. So if it's not your appointment data, it's totally fine. We have a customized app that we're going to use. And my goal is going to be during business hours to get back with all of our clients who have a question or need help, support saying no to a certain treat, maybe. But I can get back to you within an hour, but certainly within 24 hours, I should be able to get back with everybody. So that's a super bonus that not many online coaches are allowing people, and certainly not in-person coaches. So I'm going to be available. I want to do this. I'm very passionate about diet, exercise, sleep, and many other things too that you'll find out as you get to know me better. But I've certainly felt that if people knew that what they were putting their efforts into were going to be successful, that they'd stick to it, because certainly consistency here is key. And because of that, I'm not going to be the sugarcoat health coach that's going to tell you that you can eat anything you want as long as it fits your macros. Because honestly, meeting macros is important, but telling you that you can have cake just as long as it fits in is fine all the time is not the health coach that I'm going to be. So just a heads up there. But honestly, I do want you to communicate with me as much as you need to with questions and concerns, because I'm really here to be your support, babysit you through this if you need to. But the 3 of us are very committed and believe strongly in the program, and hope you sign up. Can't wait to start with you.
All right, Thomas, I appreciate it. Jessica too, they both were really good information. So I do this every time I decide I'm going to maybe add something new to the practice. I experiment with it before. And in fact, I had a bunch of people bugging me and Jessica every week. When are we going to start? When are we going to start? And I was eager to do it, but I wanted to make sure we had our ducks in a row. We were going to do it successfully in a way that was going to be very successful, like I mentioned beforehand. So myself, I know Jessica's been doing it. We recruited another individual here that decided to go along for the ride, and is still doing it. He's 2 months in, but he's 42. He's 8 weeks in. He's lost 30 pounds already. And, Jessica talked about some, yo-yo dieting. You can see this is actually his kind of weight for the year. You can see, he was kind of going up and down. And this peak was when he started working with Thomas, starting to do some of the health coaching. And look at the consistency. We went straight down following that. So he really stuck to it. And one of the feedback that we've gotten from him is that it wasn't difficult because he felt so much better. You can see what he wrote. He's getting out of bed before the alarm. He feels more focused. And, that makes it easier. Some of these, and that's kind of why with the medical weight loss, even though it doesn't make you as hungry, if you're stuck to 500 calories, which I know some of these programs do, you kind of feel pretty miserable going through that process. So you're going to associate that weight loss with a terrible feeling bad. So I think that was really cool to see this live in action. And so we do have one other example of success, and that's me. And so these are typically classified documents, but this is what I've done over 7 weeks. I was a week behind our last client, but I've lost about 22 pounds myself One of my biggest barriers, just to be transparent, was stress between, seeing a bunch of people, running the business, working with, being a dad. All those things were not a lot of time. I'll admit that I am a little ADHD too. I'm sure a lot of the patients are snickering because they know this of me. But what happened is the busier I got, the more stressed out I got, the harder it was for me to organize my life as far as exercising routinely. And me running around here at the office seeing all these people is not exercise. That's movement, but it's not exercise. And then also there was issues of that stress response that's going to produce cortisol. That's going to promote insulin resistance. That's going to promote fat storage. So the inability to kind of regulate that stress response was definitely a barrier to me, and it prevented me from planning my meals out and eating lunch that was pre-planned instead of just running to something quick to get to eat. So I really feel that these extra factors, Thomas has been a crucial factor into that. And then also, getting some of the infusions and weekly injections, you start getting a burst of 3, 4, 5 pounds in a week. And then you're like, all right, I can do this. This is going to work. So I think all of those factors had value to adding to success. And I look forward to continuing it. And I will keep you updated. I promise to do that as we go through. You're going to see my 3-month end. But anyway, so real quick, before we get into the nitty gritty of, kind of next steps, I did kind of as a group, mostly as a group, formulated a mission statement because one thing I want it to be very clear, this is not about just injecting with nutrients so you lose weight quickly. We want to be teammates in this. I found how valuable that was for me. I've seen how valuable it is for other people, but there's a lot of emotional baggage when it comes to weight. It was making me feel bad about myself. So I think that's really important that we view this as being part of a team where we're invested in your success as much as you're invested in the program. And I know probably Jessica and Thomas have some thoughts on that, but I know that was part of my goal. And I think this mission statement kind of fit it perfectly.
Yeah, I really just wanted to put the icing on the cake. What Dr. Zademan was just talking about, a lot of these programs, a lot of things, it includes a lot of restriction, calorie restriction. Not only do you feel poorly when you're extremely restricting your calories, focus isn't on eating real foods, so processed foods and the advertisement intertwines with them. And then on top of it, the restriction create a psychological response. It's almost like an overindulgence. You get into this scarcity mindset where your body is like, now I'm going to have to indulge because I've been restricting. So, the typical medical recommendations for weight loss and weight maintenance are failing the system. And that's why this helped bridge the gap. We have medical over here with good intentions, really trying to do well, but they are giving these generalized recommendations that are failing. And then they're blaming the victim. They're blaming the person dealing with overweight. It's like an idea of you're eating too much, you're not doing enough. But it's not just that. And that's why this functional program we've created, because it's much more complicated. It's much more multidimensional. It's very specific to you and your experience. So having a team of people with different opinions to help you help yourself with accountability. We're also going to have a Facebook group. I don't think we mentioned that. The app is going to be really cool. We all three are going to be able to respond to you in that app. And then the Facebook group will open up community accountability and support, recipes, whatever you may want to do on there to help each other, pictures of progress, whatever you feel comfortable sharing to help the accountability, give it momentum. So, and I am also on the journey too. So along the way, I'll share my progress also.
Let's go ahead and move into the next steps. So in order to get started, if this is sound like something that is of interest to you, the first step is We just got to get you in for the initial consultation evaluation. So at that scan, that will be with Jessica. She'll, like she said, she'll do a deep dive. There'll probably be about an hour appointment. And so she'll do her work consultation, kind of figure out, what do we have to run as far as blood tests. We'll do that 3D body scan to grab a baseline. The genetic test. So again, as she mentioned, that will be included. That's going to tell us, basically what kind of food is going to be best for you. So we can maybe customize the type of eating, the style of eating. I hate to use the term diet, but a lot of us have seen, hey, keto worked for so-and-so, but it didn't work for me. Paleo worked, but for my sister, Mediterranean did. So, that was going to help us kind of narrow down, what style of eating is going to be appropriate. And that's going to help Thomas too, kind of customize his recommendations as well. And then we'll do some HRV, which is heart rate variability and balance testing. That's going to kind of give me some insight of, maybe what functional neurology type of imbalances are contributing to this. One thing I see a lot is we'll see people who have vestibular imbalances. So they may get vertigo or dizziness or just have some bad balance in general. And when you do that and your body basically feels like it's falling all the time, subconsciously, that's a stress response, so that you're going to produce cortisol and have other barriers around that. So those are things that we can give you home exercises and techniques to kind of improve on that. Functional blood tests, I just mentioned briefly, but this can look into, hey, is there a suboptimal thyroid? I know probably a big chunk of the people in here has been told they have thyroid symptoms, but they've been told their thyroid is normal, but it's still running suboptimal. So Jessica's gonna be able to do that. The beauty of having Jessica on board is, for a lot of people, we're going to be able to show medical's necessity for a lot of these tests. So she mentioned that, hopefully we'll be able to use insurance for a lot of those tests, if not all of them, depending on the person. The next part of this is going to be the report of findings. So after we do that evaluation, all three of us are going to collect all that data, including the genetic testing, and basically put it into a customized, actionable plan. So Jessica will go through the genetics, the lab interpretation, break that down so you understand it. I'm a big believer in that. We don't need you to be experts or doctors, but we do want you to have a basic understanding of what's going on in your body. No one's going to be more of an advocate for your health than you, ever. I don't care how much the doctor listens. I don't care how much they seem to care. No one's going to care more than you. And it's not that you need to know how to doctor yourself, but you need to know how to advocate for yourself. And having some basic understanding of what's going on in your body is super important for that. We will break down the balance testing, what it means for your neurology, how that can maybe be impeding on some of your goals. A great example is like if I have now this is not diagnostic of adult ADHD, but if I have an adult ADHD patient, maybe I'm a little distractible. Maybe my executive functioning skills and planning aren't real good. Maybe I'm a little impulsive. So, I'm going to grab an extra snack. I'm not talking about myself at all here, but those would be important because, again, that's going to be a mental barrier to your success. And then, of course, we're going to break that down into a customized treatment plan. There'll be home exercises, home things to do to maximize those results. And then, of course, we'll break down the costs of the 12-week program. So basically, you're going to get about 2 hours with us between the first visit and the second visit. And we're going to do all that. Normally we would do that at $300, but we're going to do it since you came to this introductory webinar for $197. So that will be your initial fee. Now, if you're thinking this is something you want to at least start moving forward with the evaluation, there's a couple of options you can do. You can go ahead and in the chat bar, just go ahead and just write yes. And that will trigger our staff to reach out to you to get you scheduled. You're also, at least theoretically, if I set this all up right, you should get a survey after this presentation. And what that's going to do is basically ask you how we did. We definitely want some feedback on the information itself. I hope it was helpful and insightful. And then also you can request for us to reach out from there. So we're definitely going to be doing this all month of August. So you definitely don't have to, make this decision right this second, but there will be that option moving forward. You can also, another thing here is you can just go send us an email at info@healthytallahassee.com. You can also send us an email at 850-877 6790. So either way, that's always, you can do that. Like I said, this is going to be available at least through the month of August. I appreciate everybody coming. I hope this was insightful. You will get the recording right after we're done here, so you can look back over it. Again, if you, I've already got a group of people here I see that we'll reach out to. I got your questions, so we will get that. I see someone raise their hand. We got you too. So don't worry. We're going to make sure we get everybody who wants to get in. And if you have any questions on the process, feel free to call us or send us an email, and I'll get back to you.
I can't.
You guys have a great night. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
All right. We look forward to helping you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.